lot better. Now here comes his teammate, and we'll be able to see how good Rolfo is, or how good that lap was. James Tozen, interestingly enough, has also been struggling here. Remember, Ten Carter didn't take the test here at Misano, so this is all...
The engine's very strong. It produces good power, but things like slipper clutches and electronics, it's not as trick as whatever he thinks. Certainly
slower than his teammate.
Yeah, and certainly going into the corners, he's having a lot of problems. It hits the bumps and it chatters around with the power off, and you actually just saw it there. And apparently there's nothing James can do. He just has to sit on it and make the best of it. And I've got to say, sitting on the bike that isn't doing what he wants and making the best of it is just about what he does best.
Yes, he can.
He's brilliant.
He can do that. He can do that. We understand he's happiest in this middle section, which includes the fast straight with this hideously quick right-hand kink.
Anywhere that there's any slow corners that he's braking and turning into, then it just apparently the chatter's there.
Whoa, that is quick.
Yeah, well,
that is quick.
Well, that's the middle section. That he always knew it was quick as anybody around the middle section. But again, struggles on its last bit. The slow right of Curva del Carro, and then the last two lefts into Misano and then onto the straight. He's going to struggle again.
So how much of it will he lose in these corners is the question.
He's got half a second in hand.
Oh, we're all holding our breath across the line.
It's good.
Whoa!
Oh, it pulled even more out. Well done, James.
So the first section's still a problem, but I think they've sorted out the final section.
Not half.
Well, we hoped we would see a big gap there. But James Toseland, the World Championship leader, should not be starting 9th in Superpole, should he?
And that's faster than anybody has gone all weekend, except for Bailey, who's done a 35.3.
That's more like
That's some lap.
Good. That's rescued what started to look like a bit of a sticky weekend. And see, we spot the back end doing things it shouldn't. Is this? Look at that.
Kind of bouncing. That's what he's talking about. Yeah. And obviously, when the bike's doing that, the wheel's only in contact. The rear wheel's only in contact with the floor partially, and if you turn into the corner at that point, it's going to come round on you.
Not the general idea. Here is Michel Fabrizio, the young Roman. Lying 12th in the championship at the moment. Not set the place alight, I have to say. Best result of 6th place, which is the second race at Assen.
After Bruno, when he got a couple of rostrums last year, everybody thought that, and he'd been actually knocking on the door of rostrums for quite a long time. We thought he'd made it and that it'd give him confidence and be away, but not proved to be the case.
It hasn't come together for him, has it? When he was in Moto Grand Prix on the Peter Clifford's WCM bike, he absolutely rode the wheel. They got a 10th place in the wet at Jerez. And that included falling off it and getting back on again. When Shaky was hurt, he got on the Aprilia. You thought, here is a kid who is really going places quickly.
I think he rode at Donington on the Aprilia, didn't he?
He would have done. And it's he was supposed to ride last year on Tony Elias's bike, but got done by a cold Michelin at Goddard's. Nowhere, is it?
Way down at 1.1 second. That's terrible.
Not what you expect. It's just an Italian. I know it's the San Marinese round, but we're on an Italian racetrack, and it's a home race. This is not looking good. Talking of another Honda team, you may have been following the Alto Evolution saga.
I think
they aren't here. It's lawyers,
an epic,
hijackings.
And that's, puts him into 5th, and he'll be disappointed with that.
Just a bit. So we've only got 22 bikes on the grid here because we're missing Josh Brooks
and Muggers
and Carl Muggeridge. Their bikes, transporters, have been hijacked, impounded, subject to court orders. It's a soap opera, isn't it?
It's been epic. From what we can gather from the press releases, that the guy driving it back from Silverstone, the driver went into a fuel station and got out to pay the bill, and somebody jumped in his truck and drove it away. We don't understand fully what went on because both sides seem to be fairly conflicting at the minute, but certainly there's writs flying about and lawsuits in the
and the Carabinieri have been staking places out.
Yep.
It's really
claims and counterclaims. The upshot is that we're more concerned about is that Muggers and Josh Brooks don't take to the grid for this round.
And given the way and the speed at which Italian legal system runs, you wouldn't hold your breath, would you?
No.
Let's have a look at Norrie.
Almost half a second up in the smallest split.
In that technical first, that slow section.
Yep, and this is where the Yamaha is so strong. It's this bike of Eiger's on its nose, it's high at the back, low at the front, turns like a thing that turns very quick.
So you'd want to see him gaining time in the first sector.
Yep.
Will he give it all back in this power sector?
We'll see.
This is where James Toseland made up most of his time. And then promptly confounded us by making more up in the final sector.
Yep.
It's all gone back.
Yep, he's still on it though, if he can hustle it through.
And from what you're saying,
he should be able to do.
It should be good in this sector.
But we know that James pulled another half a second down on the last sector.
We don't know where from, but he managed it. And Noriyuki Haga basically level pegging with James Toseland.
One corner left.
It looks good and neat so far, hasn't it? No obvious alarms or excursions. Fires the yam out of the last left-hander.
He's done it.
Just by a tenth.
Yep. They'll be happy with that.
He certainly will. Noriyuki Haga. 3 wins this season. Only 1 pole so far this season. Mind you, Noriyuki Haga and pole position are not two phrases you put in the same sentence very often.
That's a full second quicker than he managed the whole way through time qualifying.
How typical of Noriyuki Haga is that? Get him out the box on race day. Yukio Kagayama crosses the line to start his Superpole lap. You were saying when we were out watching on track earlier today, James, that these Suzukis really look a lot happier here at Misano than they have.
Absolutely, just the character of the track, and they just look a lot easier to ride than they have at some of the other places, and you can see by where they are. I mean, Kagayama, the man we're looking at now, has qualified 6th in regular qualifying, and his teammate Biaggi in 4th. So yeah, they do look like they're a good bike to ride round here.
Well, he's lost a quarter of a second in the first sector to Haga. Let's see what the Suzuki has to offer in the way of horsepower. And we get down the back straight.
Such a nice guy, Kagayama.
I was just thinking it's good to see him as near to fighting fit as he ever is.
I don't think he ever is fighting fit.
I know.
He's kind of like Ian Simpson, who's only ever at his best when he's heating up.
And he's basically held it there, hasn't he? Lost a bit more, but not a lot.
Remember, both Haga and Toseland have gone considerably quicker than they have in regular qualifying, so...
And he's losing it now. He'll still be good enough for 3rd, I would think, behind Haga and Toseland, but well in front of Rolfo Neukirk there and the rest.
He looked to have a really wide line around that last right at Del Caro.
And this is the entrance to the last corner. And Yukio, just to the point with Yukio, I just want to see him stay on a motorbike and get a few points. We reckon
he's lost a lot.
Yep.
Still 3rd.
So that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men to go. And the first of them will be Ruben Zaus, then Max Biaggi, Lorenzo Lanzi, Troy Corsa and Troy Bayliss.
That's exactly, he's duplicated his time exactly that he did in regular qualifying, so it wasn't a completely rubbish lap, it just that the other 2 riders in front of him, Haga and Toseland, have gone a lot quicker than they have.
So we're not seeing a pattern at all, are we?
Nothing, no.
Having thought we were with the first few guys.
We lied about that, didn't we?
We made up a story and were proved wrong immediately. Here is Ruben, 1 win so far this season at home in Spain in Valencia.
Very emotional.
Just a little bit, only 7th in the championship. which shows you again how patchy Ruben tends to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is again the Sterile Garda Ducati won't be as technically advanced and hasn't got as a professional team. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's certainly not as well funded or professional as a Xerox Ducati squad of Lanzi and Bayliss. But make no mistake, this man can still ride a bike.
As he showed at Valencia and other places this year.
We like him because he's a little bit mad and you just never know what's going to happen.
And he does have a tendency to throw it into the scenery.
He does, but he just doesn't know when to stop trying, and you've got to respect that, I think. As a rider, I respect someone who can...
And as a team manager,
yeah,
you've got to love that, haven't you?
A man's giving 110%, there's nothing more he can do.
Absolutely. And he's half a second down in that first split, so I have to say that Haga and Toseland's times looking better and better.
Yeah. Yep.
And as you say, big chunks off the regular qualifying time, which, looking at how the temperature's gone up, both ambient and tarmac temperature,
you wouldn't expect.
You really wouldn't expect it, would you?
No.
Let's see how he's doing through the second checkpoint. Fast. It's still half a second off. It's just another few fractions have gone away from him.
Could be third though.
Yep, it could easily displace well, not easily, it could displace Kageyama from third. And we have found our plot. I think Haga and Toseland were much further down in regular qualifying than they should have been.
It looked a lot better lying round the slow Del Caro than Kageyama's. I think this could be third.
Let's get Ruben over the line, and it is third. By just under a tenth of a second from Kageyama.
36.1, which again, it's a tenth of a second quicker than he managed in qualifying, so...
Can't argue. And as you can see from these replays, Ruben never does anything but try again. Never ever could be accused of cruising.
What was the saying that Parish used to, Steve Parish, my ex-racer and colleague in commentary, was he said, if at first you don't succeed, do it.
Yes. Which Ruben doesn't do, but Parish obviously did at some point in time. Now then, local hero Max Biaggi, well, local enough, another Roman. You've got to believe that a lot of punters will be turning up here tomorrow to see Max. And the Suzuki's going well.
Well, even I've got to admit that, I mean, he's come to World Superbike, even though he hasn't been dominant, which we thought he might do. He hasn't lost interest. He's continued to try hard. Every interview he's given, and I've done a couple with him, has been brilliant. He says he's enjoying himself, and I mean, this isn't the man that I thought he would be.
No, I mean, you'd have thought, what's he had? One win?
Yeah, first time out of Qatar, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have thought the dummy might have been out the pram and into orbit.
Continues to try, continues to be quick. Generally, by the end of race day, he's as quick as anybody.
Giving every impression of enjoying himself most of the time, but no one's working harder and making more progress through a weekend than Max Biaggi.
No.
And you can see from that first sector, he's got a whole chunk of time off the men who have gone before, Haga and Toseland.
Yeah, he managed a 36.2 in regular qualifying.
And he's got some of it back in that second sector.
Strangely enough, it doesn't look good because it's all red and it doesn't look like a good time, but actually this is possibly going to be a reasonable amount quicker than he's managed in regular qualifying.
Could split Haga and Toseland.
Yeah.
Could be second. Almost nailed on for third place, provided he doesn't do anything...
which we haven't seen.
And Max Biaggi doesn't tend to do daft things. Take him across. Where are we, Max? Where are we?
I tell you what, that's third, but that's a good half second quicker than he's managed. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Same sort of progress that Haga and Toseland have made. So only 3 men to go now in Superpole. Max Biaggi installs himself on the front row, and he knows that no matter what the 3 guys remaining do, Max Biaggi knows he will start from the second row of the grid at worst.
Yep.
Job done, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Coming up in June on Eurosport.
Here is a local hero, Lorenzo Lanzi, on the first of the factory Ducatis. Hammers across the line on the Big V twin. Lorenzo from Bologna, the town that Ducati's factory is in. what is it, 60 miles up the road, something like that?
60 miles up the road. He's from Bologna. The Catties are made in Bologna, and his team manager, David Tedozzi, is also his personal manager. So,
and David's from Ravenna, which is even closer.
Yep.
And he's a quarter of a second off at the first checkpoint. There's going to be some close times here, James, aren't there? We're going to be looking for any tiny mistake or bobble is going to put you a couple of places down here.
Yeah, I think the thing is that Hagen and Tozen both went so much quicker than they managed all weekend. That's quite an hard act to follow.
I would agree with you. I think taking a second off your time as those two have done.
That's about as much as you can hope for. That's the best you can hope for.
Quite astonishing, the more I think about it. Lorenzo Lanzi, 0.2 down, so he's held his pace through the fast middle section of this lap. Now 0.2 off, and it's going to put him fourth. I don't see this as interfering with Hager, Tozel and Biaggi at the moment.
I don't think so.
So Lanzi, who was third fastest in regular qualifying, is going to lose ground and slip, one would suggest, from the first to the second row.
Yep.
He does.
Yep.
So Biaggi's still on the front row.
Yep.
With just two to go. Two to go. The two Troys, the two Aussies. The Ducati team try and work out what to make of that. No mistakes or anything that I could see. No big wobbles.
No.
How did that compare with his 136.1 that he did in regular qualifying?
Yep, he did a 136.02.
So he's gone quicker.
Yep.
Again. Which, that's what you'd expect. That's what the script book would say.
Remember, Jules, qualifying tyres, they won't, throughout regular qualifying, have used a qualifying tyre. They're allowed to use the softest option of the race tyres. But for if they make it into Superpole, i.e. the top 16, then they're allowed to use one qualifying tyre for pre-Super Bowl warm-up to get used to that tyre, and then
see how
get
it feels.
one more. Yeah, so this is the second qualifier that they will have used all weekend. That's a rear qualifying
and
tyre.
not every racer can just put his trust in a front qualifying tyre or whatever. Yep, this is worth a second. Troy Corser getting a little out of shape there. That is not his normal style.
It's not. His normal style is to be very, very quick in Superpole, though. This is a man who's got more watches in his closet than anybody else I know.
How many pole positions, Troy, in your career? 39.
Yeah, loads.
In the World Superbike Championship.
Yeah, loads and loads.
Shooting for his 40th, but a tenth off, a tenth and a half off at the first checkpoint. Woof. His teammate Hager was massively fast. This is ragged by Troy Corser's standards.
It is, yeah. He's normally super smooth.
It really looks like he's forcing it to fit.
I think it could be third, though. Using all the road around that fast right down the back straight, 140 miles an hour.
Didn't just look fast.
It was quick.
Wow. Nearly 2/10 quicker.
He's held it together. Got 3 corners left now.
Got to assume that the Yamaha team found a second for Hager, have found whatever the recipe was for coping with this temperature. This tarmac temperature, they've got it.
No obvious mistakes. Last 3 corners.
Troy Corser.
Where did he pull that from?
That is astounding.
Unbelievable. Mr. Consoni there, look if he's somebody to cuddle.
So, the Yams first and second. Italian run team. This isn't really their home race, so Monza is the home race for these boys.
He's managed it again. He's a third rider. Hager himself and Torsland almost a second quicker.
Right, up to Troy Bayliss then, isn't it?
He's been quite dominant the whole weekend. This is a man who you couldn't really see being beaten for pole.
Quarter of a second quicker than the field in regular practice.
Yeah.
Fastest man of the weekend so far on his Superpole lap.
And you've got to say that he's a man who relishes a challenge.
That's the wildest understatement, isn't it? That really is. He is a terrier of a man.
He is.
I thought your analogy at Assen, Bayliss beating James Tozen in that last corner.
Yeah.
It's like the last scene from the Terminator.
Yeah.
When the
The
arm is coming after you on its own. Oh, Terminator ahoy!
Yeah. Remember though, we know how quick that Corsa and
Hager in the middle section.
Toseland in the middle section.
Yeah. Whereas Lanzi wasn't on the other factory Ducati. He didn't pull up any stumps. But, Troy Bayliss and Lorenzo Lanzi, I venture to suggest, are different animals.
Looks neat.
It does. The Troys have swapped character.
This is a telling section. Down the back straight in the fast right-hander. The grand curve.
Just a bit. Brave as you like.
It's good.
Oh, it's still good.
Just so.
Just.
He's going to have to hustle it around the last 3 or 4 corners.
Of course, his advantage over the field is a massive half a second.
And he got it all in almost all of it in the last section.
Sector, didn't he? You wouldn't have thought the Ducati would be as agile as the Yamaha. You really wouldn't.
You wouldn't. One corner. He looks good.
Oh, that was a clip. Drifts it round and fires it in front of our commentary box and over the line. Where have you gone,
Not
Troy?
good enough.
It isn't.
Second.
1/10.5 slower.
And we said Corsa's last split was phenomenal.
That's worth bearing in mind for tomorrow. There's Giancarlo Filippo, the Lion, one of the heroes of Ducati's Superbike past. As of course was Troy Corsa, the World Championship with Ducati.
A lot of backslapping going on in the Yamaha pit, deservedly so.
I should say so.
Yep.
First
and third. Toseland starts off the front row, good enough for him after 9th in regular qualifying. I'd be pleased with that.
Oh, you've got to say that is a real rescue act, haven't you?
Yep, Biaggi just been squeezed onto the second row along with Lanzi, Zaus and Kageyama.
So Max has lost 1 place in Superpole.
Yeah.
Gone from 4th to 5th.
He's all right. And
That's all right.
Yep.
He'll be cool with that. Yep. Looking further down, Lanzi's a loser, 3rd to 6th.
Yep. Again, second row.
Yeah, it's all right. Second row, isn't it? Yeah, you can't. If you offered him a start off the second row, he'd have probably said OK before proceedings. But man of the moment, and now the owner of 40 pole positions in World Superbike. Yeah, 40.
Yeah, your front rows, Troy Corsa, Troy Bayliss, Noriyuki Haga, James Toseland, second row, Max Biaggi, Lorenzo Lanzi, Ruben Zaus and Yukio Kageyama.
More or less the normal cast of characters.
Yep.
Not necessarily in the order which you would have expected.
All the normal notes, but not necessarily in the right order.
Absolutely.
Third row is Robby Rolfo, Max Neukirchner, Regis Laconi and Michele Fabrizio. Your fourth row and last in Superpole are Bossiane, Nakatomi, Nieto and Smertz.
Not a good day for the Kawasaki's. The Australian Troy Corsa, twice a world champion, 40 pole positions now from 264 races, would you believe, in the World Superbike Championship. If you're going to put your money on someone for pole position, it would have to be Troy Corsa, and the Aussie has done it again. He will start the San Marino round of the World Superbike Championship from pole position alongside his fellow countryman Troy Bayliss, the Japanese Yamaha man teammate of Troy Corsa, Noriyuki Haga, and the championship leader from England, James Toseland, will start on the other end of the front row in 4th. We'll see.